The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 224. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey of self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have an amazing woman today. She is a writer, a performance artist, and also a teaching artist, and I'm just excited to have her on and share her story with us on self-confidence and her journey. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to May Lee Yang. May, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
I'm good. Thanks so much for inviting me, Sheena. So I am a writer. I write different things, but I'm mostly known as a playwright these days. And I also am a performance artist, which is just a fancy way of saying I get paid to play myself on stage. I have a couple of different shows, including Confessions of a Lazy Hmong Woman. Most recently, I did a collaborative project with my real-life BFF called Hmong Lao Friendship Play, which is a comedy. And I've done I've done semi-one-person shows like 10 Reasons Why I'd Be a Bad Porn Star, my bad. And so I like to use things from real life and turn them into theatrical pieces. And in my other life, I also teach. So I teach creative writing and theater to youth and senior citizens.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what's your cultural background?
I'm ethnically Hmong. Yeah, so some people have heard of us, some people haven't. I'm like, just Google it. Hmong.
I remember seeing it for the first time, and I didn't really know how to pronounce it until someone told me about it, because I just thought you would pronounce the H.
Yeah.
But now I know it's silent. But thanks for sharing that. And May, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
You know, I know this is really cheesy and corny, but so I heard this quote like 15 years ago and I still love it. It's shoot for the moon, because even if you fall short, you'll still land among the stars. And I like this quote because, I mean, I grew up in the 80s, right? And so I love this idea of chasing your dreams. And even 15, 20 years later, I guess it's probably 30 years later, right? The 80s have been long gone. I still think that everyone should shoot for their dreams.
I love that. And you know, it's funny because, you know, when people fall short of their goals, they don't actually celebrate it. You know, they feel like, oh, I didn't hit it. But if you met halfway, I mean, that's still an achievement, right? And people forget to celebrate it. And it's like they give up right away knowing they're already halfway there. So, you know, I like that when you say shoot for the moon.
Yes.
Yeah. Because even if you fall short, I mean, you still, you know, accomplish something, whether it's 20%, 30%, or 50% of your dreams, you're almost there. And, you know, some people just quit too easily sometimes when they don't meet it. So, you know, I don't think it's cheesy. I actually like it. It's a great, it's a great quote. So thanks for sharing that. And, and in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
You know, I really think it's about being happy with who you are and living the kind of life you want to live without compromise. And when I thought about that, I stopped at the term without compromise. What does that mean? Because some people could say, you know, I want to hurt people. You know, I don't want to compromise that. But I guess for me, it just means try to be your authentic self. And what's good about this day and age is that we try to emphasize that a lot more. Or maybe that's just my news, my Facebook news feeds and stuff. But even, when I was growing up, I mean, people were pushing for everybody to be perfectionists. And now people are saying it's okay to fail. We should actually, we should invest in failing, because only through failing can you get to where you want to be. Or a lot of people, I think, are they're not looking for a job or a career. They're looking for a life for themselves. So I like the way that we've changed, that perspective of our lives.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And I like that definition. And it's true, right? I mean, especially growing up Asian, we've always been taught to just like be that good daughter or that good wife or good sister. And we put up this front and, nobody sees our true authentic self, knowing, it may look perfect on the outside, but people are dying on the inside because they're not letting their true selves out. And like you said, now this day and age with social media, a lot more people are more vulnerable in sharing their stories and sharing, how inspiring they can be. And like self-confidence is just loving yourself, with all your flaws, with all your fears, with all your doubts. And that's what it is. It's just embracing who you are and being okay with that. So I really love that definition that you mentioned. And May, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I was in an interesting position. I remember feeling really embarrassed and ashamed a lot. I didn't start off that way. I was the kind of kid when I was growing up. I was really loud. I had a lot of opinions. Adults thought I was really funny or witty, right? They probably thought I was very, what is that term? I forget. But anyway, people were very fine with me as a kid. But the older I got, as in when I turned 7, 8, 9 years old, people started saying things like, hold on. Hmong girls don't talk like that. Hmong girls don't dress like that. Or when I was at school and I was just being myself, people were like, hey, yeah, Asian girls don't raise their hands in class. I know it sounds stupid, ridiculous, right? But whether I was at home or at school or in other public spaces, there was always somebody policing who they thought I should be. And so I learned to shut down. I learned to shut up. So for some examples where, I grew up poor, and there were so many things that were very blatant as well as very subtle that taught me that it was not a good thing to be poor. My parents came here as refugees. By the time I hit, 5th or 6th grade, I was embarrassed, about having parents who couldn't speak to my teachers at conferences. And it's funny because I talk to some kids these days, Hmong kids, and they're like, why are you so embarrassed? We have so much Hmong pride. I'm like, yes, but people my age, 20 years ago, this is my experience 20 years ago, right? Because of all the stuff we had to do, you guys feel better about yourself. But this was my reality 20, 25 years ago. And even growing up, I was a really skinny kid. And then when puberty hit, I got boobs and I gained weight. And again, people were like, Asian girls aren't chubby. So anyway, it was not I did not have a good time growing up.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think it's something we all kind of face too when we're younger, especially like you said, growing up in the 80s and the 90s. We have all these perceptions of we have our surroundings telling us how to act. It's like, you can't sit like that, you can't say that, you can't laugh at that joke. And it's just like we're when so many people tell us what to do, we just, like you said, shut down because we don't even know what to do anymore, because every action we take is like, is it the right way or the wrong way? And then, we start to doubt ourselves and it's like this whole crazy cycle because it affects us in our adult lives as well. And, what was that point in your life when you realized, you can be who you are, you can be the person that you've always wanted to be, break out? And, what was that aha moment in your life?
Yeah, I did have an aha moment actually when I was a senior in high school. I looked at my yearbook. I think this was right before, I started my senior year. I was going through my sophomore yearbook and I saw what people wrote to me, which was a lot of the comments were, May, you're really nice. Or I wish I'd gotten to know you better, or you're really smart. And I realized, actually, no, I'm not really that nice. I'm not that smart. I'm not this. But people, because I'm quiet, you've made these assumptions about me. But the bigger thing was I realized it's not their fault. They have these perceptions about me because I haven't let myself be authentic around them. And so I made the decision to try to live life more fully. For example, like, my senior year, I remember going to lunch and these Hmong kids actually said to me, are you new here? Even though I had been going there for 4 years. And so I realized I'd been floating through life and I hadn't been a participant in it. And I didn't want that to be me for the rest, for the rest of my life. So I made a decision to start talking to people. And of course, I'm a fan of the 80s. And so I did my whole 80s transformation. I got a haircut. I got rid of my glasses. I went and bought new clothes. I started talking to people. People were like, are you new here? But the other piece of it was that I spent so much time being embarrassed about who I was, being a child of refugees, being poor, being all this other stuff. And it occurred to me one day, I walked through life as if somebody was actually looking at me, judging me all the time. And I realized no one cares, or at least even if they care, they have no power over me. And so I could walk through life being embarrassed about all these things, but it didn't make a difference. And so I decided that, internalized oppression, it sucks. And it sucks, but I had the power to just decide not to live with it. And so this is an epiphany I had when I was 18. And what's really sad is that I know there are a lot of adults to this day who still carry all this baggage and they haven't been able to say goodbye to it. And so I hope if you have listeners who are still, are going through internalized depression, I hope they just realize, live life the way you want to live,
I love, thanks for sharing that. And it's true, right? I mean, we've all been through it. We judge ourselves to the point like, nobody really thinks about you, right? I mean, I don't mean in a bad way. It's just like people are so consumed in their own problems that, it doesn't matter what you do because you can't please everybody. And sometimes you just got to look in the mirror and say, I am more than enough. And when you realize that, that's when the true magic happens and you can live life authentically, live life of true freedom and just be the person that you're meant to be. And, with that realization, what's your life been like now?
Much better. I mean, I think I am really privileged to be in places where people value my opinion. I mean, I joke about how I get paid to play myself on stage, but it's true. I mean, whether I'm teaching or I'm performing or I'm just talking to people, I'm talking about my own experiences. And I think the goal is that hopefully through talking about some of the, challenges I went through, hopefully other kids don't have to go through some of this stuff. And so it feels good. I'll be honest, it's not always great. Even though I attempt to live authentically, it doesn't always happen 100% of the time. There are moments where I'm like, I just want to hide, or I don't feel comfortable in the space. So that still happens. But I think I do a much better job of being myself than I used to be. And it feels good to attempt to live the life you want to live, versus being stuck in a job or being stuck around people who make you feel bad. I know that sounds so simple, but I know a lot of people who are in really negative situations that are not necessarily abusive situations, but they're around people who say mean things about them, or people who make them feel bad. And so I feel really privileged to be around good people.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I'm glad you're able to, live the life that you want. And it's true, right? Being, self-confidence is like a forever journey. We're not always going to be 100% confident. There's going to be days where you just want to hide from the world, where you just want to binge on Netflix and eat ice cream all day. But the best thing is, because we work on ourselves so much, that it's easier to just get back up, and that's what's beautiful about it. So sometimes you got to just feel all those feelings away, just get rid of them and bring new energy in. So May, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in a similar journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you'd give to her?
I'm going to borrow from Anne Lamott quote. She's a writer, and she wrote, I decided that the most subversive, revolutionary thing I could do was show up for my life and not be ashamed. Okay, I'll be honest. The first time I heard this, I saw this was on Facebook, on a meme. I'm a big Facebook meme person. But I just thought, wow, actually, that's my journey. The idea that you could just be yourself is, I talked earlier about how people kept telling me who I should be and who I was not. And so the idea that you could just live your life as yourself is incredibly revolutionary and empowering. And I hope people dare themselves to do it.
Great tip. And I love that. Show up and not be ashamed. Isn't that such a simple concept, just to live life being your true self? A lot of people don't even think about it, right? Because they're so consumed with, pleasing other people and thinking what other people, think of them, always living life on other people's opinions. But, when you just maybe sit down and think about it, living life in my own terms, living life being authentically myself. What a great concept. So
yeah, love
that quote. And if our listeners want to get to know a little bit more about what you do, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook. I have my personal page, which is pretty public anyway. But I also have a Facebook fan page called just May. Last name is Lee-Yang. My website is currently at www.lazyamongwomen.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with May, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for May's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I really just want to thank May for taking the time to share her story and journey with us. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Sheena. This was great.
It was an honor to have you on. I enjoyed the story that you shared with us today. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll catch you later. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Sign up for our free membership site to get more amazing resources for self-confidence by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.